Hey guys, Jinno here, and this is MotoDeal's Behind the Desk Home Edition. Before anything, I want to remind you guys to please click the like and subscribe button so that you know when we have a new video up. Now, assuming you've taken all the necessary riding classes, you have the proper gear, and you convince your significant other and or your mothers that nothing can stop you from getting a bike. Because let's be honest, sometimes that's the more difficult part. So now you're thinking to yourself, what kind of bike should I get? Ano kayang bagay sa akin? Well, we thought it would be interesting to talk about some of the most common types of bikes out in the market today. Let's start out with one of my personal favorite categories, the standard or the naked bikes. What are some of the pros? Well, they've got minimal bodywork. The seating position is quite neutral, so it's pretty comfortable. They often weigh a little less than some of the other types of bikes out there. And they do pretty much everything well. Not exactly great, but definitely not bad. So they're right there in the middle of everything. And there's an extremely wide range of choices. Now, what are some of the cons? Honestly, there aren't many. In fact, if you want to nitpick, you can probably say that some of these bikes could look a little old-fashioned for some people. However, there are modern naked bikes if that is your flavor. Now, what are some of the examples of the standard or the naked bikes? Well, we have the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650, the Kawasaki W800, the Triumph Bonneville Street Twin, and for the modern nakeds, we have the KTM Duke 390 and the Yamaha MT-07. Let's move on to the dirt bikes. This is a really fun category. Now, what are some of the pros? Well, they're legal on both street and dirt/trail. They're extremely light with rugged construction, so they're kind of easy to learn on. And if you can ride a dirt bike, you can pretty much ride anything else. They're great for rural areas. So if you think about it, for the Philippines, this should be a perfect choice. However, there are some cons, like the seat height. It could be a little high for shorter riders. Kako! They have a compromised performance on pavement because, well, they're dirt bikes, not street bikes, right? They are made for the dirt. And not all of them are expressway legal. Here are some examples. One of my personal favorites, the Yamaha XTZ125, the Honda CRF 150, and this one is actually expressway legal. It's the KTM 690 SMCR. Next up is another personal favorite of mine, the cruisers. What are some of the pros? Well, the seat height is low, great for beginners because if a rider can get both feet flat foot on the ground, it gives him or her that much more confidence. Now, the cruisers also got lots of style. The pogi points of this bike are through the roof. And the seating position, well, it's pretty relaxed. Now, what are some of the cons? Well, that same seating position is a little unique, so it could get a little bit of time to get used to it. Now, here are some of the examples. The Harley-Davidson Iron 883, the Ducati X Javel, and the Kawasaki Vulcan S 650. Up next, we got the touring bikes. Now, what are some of the pros of these types of beasts? Well, they're extremely comfortable for long trips because, well, that's pretty much what they're made for. And that's why they can carry loads of stuff in the back, and the sides, and the front, everywhere. There's compartments all over this bike, and it can carry pretty much a lot of luggage for you and your companion who's probably seated behind you, nakaangkas. They also have great wind protection, so if you're riding on the highway, you don't get too fatigued with all that wind hitting you. This one actually has a pretty big windscreen, and it is quite comfortable. What are some of the cons? Well, they're extremely difficult to maneuver in traffic because they're huge. I mean, just absolutely massive. And because they're so big, they're also extremely heavy. And last but not least, well, the price can also be very heavy. Now, here are some examples of the touring bikes. The Honda Goldwing 1800, the Harley-Davidson CVO Street Glide, and BMW K1600B. A category that's gaining in popularity is the adventure bike. If you want to go a long way around the world, these guys can do it because they can ride on both street and dirt pretty well, which makes them extremely versatile. They've got a rugged construction, and storage compartments are optional. What are some of the cons? Well, the seat height typically is tall for shorter riders, and it can be difficult to maneuver these bikes in city traffic. Now, some examples of the adventure bikes are the BMW R 1250 GS Adventure, the granddaddy of all adventure bikes. Gaining in popularity is the KTM 790 Adventure. And we also have the Suzuki V-Strom 1000. Up next is the most popular type of motorcycles here in the Philippines, the underbone. Now, why are they so famous? Well, they're pretty affordable. They're also extremely easy to use, and they're really light, so they're very maneuverable in city traffic. Now, obviously, there are cons as well, like they have less power than some of the other motorcycles out there. They're also not expressway legal. To get on the expressway, you need a minimum displacement of 400cc. Now, underbones typically go anywhere between 50 to 150cc, well below the 400cc limit. Now, here are some examples of the underbone motorcycles: the Yamaha Sight, the Honda Wave 110 Alpha, and the Suzuki Smash 150. Next up, we have the scooters. Yes, they kind of look like the underbones, but they're not. Now, what are some of the pros? They're extremely easy to ride. I mean, all you gotta do is twist and go. No need to think because they're automatic transmission. I mean, it's literally mindless to ride these things. They're also pretty lightweight and practical. Now, what are some of the cons? Most of them don't have that much power. Yes, there are maxi scooters and other higher displacement types of scooters out there, but majority of the scooters are literally made for the city and just to go around the neighborhood. Now, what are some examples of these scooters? Well, we have the Vespa Sprint 150, the Honda ADV 150, and the BMW C400 GT if you want a little bit more oomph. And finally, we have the sport bikes. Now, the cruiser is kind of like the rock star of motorcycles. Sport bikes are kind of like the star athlete. Now, what are some of the pros? Well, it's got a sporty, aggressive seating. So when you get on the bike and you're going, feeling mo, astig mo talaga, like bad boy na bad boy. Yeah, at least that's what I feel. They also have a full coverage bodywork, excellent handling, superior engine performance. And because they're so powerful and fast, they also need very strong brakes. Now, what are some of the cons? Well, they're pretty uncomfortable. They're really uncomfortable, especially on longer rides and if you're stuck in traffic. And they could be too powerful for most beginners, though there are sport bikes that have a lower displacement. Here are some examples of my personal favorite types of sport bikes: the Aprilia RS V4 RR 1000, the Ducati Panigale V4 Speciale, and the MV Agusta Super F3 800. Beautiful machines. Well, folks, there you have it. Those are some of the types of bikes that are out in the Philippine market today. If you want to learn more about any of the bikes that we just mentioned or more about the different types of bikes out there, you can log on to our website at www.motodeal.com.ph. It's been Jinno for MotoDeal's Behind the Desk Home Edition. Until next time.